Operating under the crooked American barber system too long. We are now in session. The Barber Session. The only podcast for barbers by barbers.
All right, so what's going on, guys? Back at you with another episode of the Barber Session. As promised, I told you guys we're going to have a special guest this week. The one, the only, Tyrik Jackson, owner of the premier Barber Institute, 2 barbershops, educator that's been everywhere. It's too much. I can't even edify, guys. It's a lot, man. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. Blessed to have him on the show. Tyrik, how you doing today, man? I'm
doing great, man. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it.
Bro, man. By the way, the live today was crazy, bro. The live was good, bro.
What was your takeaway from today's live?
Invest. Short term versus long term. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things that I already practice, right? But it's just that little reminder, you know what I mean? Collect your data. Like, data is power, people. Collect it. You have it. It's right there. It's 2020. Like, it's so easy. Everything is, apps now, and you can record all your data. It's just, there's no excuse. Collect.
If you're not collecting your data, it's just because you're lazy. It's actually designed to make it more efficient for you.
Exactly. If you would just go to that little tab that says settings and actually check it out, that little tab that says analytics.
Done.
Like, I go on there sometimes and I look like, holy crap, they said it was slow. He had 189 appointments this month. What do you mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's powerful. It's powerful stuff. Tyrik, it's great to have you on the show, man. There's so many places we could start. We could start with the live. We could start, I know your story. It's incredible. You went to school with your mother. That's an incredible story. How you became a barber. I want to start at the show that catapulted you, where you won the $25,000, bro. And you did the whole Prince thing. That was incredible, man. Let's talk about that and how that springboarded you into education. And it's you haven't really looked back since then, man.
Mm-hmm. So, Bronner Brothers is the largest multicultural show in the world. At that time, when the industry as a whole didn't embrace the barbering side, Bronner Brothers did. There was a lady by the name of Erica Washington. She's been married since then, but Erica was the person who would bring the talent, and her heart was for the barbers. She saw something big in the barbers, and a lot of times back then, barbering was like the armpit of the hair industry. Right now, barbering is not. It's what everyone is really embracing. Cosmetologists are going back to barber school. They're going to work at barbershops because they want to create these new trendy looks and styles, and it's actually more respected and appreciated now. But in 2006, when I went to Bronner Brothers to compete, it was in 2003 and 2004 where I was introduced to Bronner. But in 2005, I got a phone call from Glenn Jackson. I did a print ad, I did basically a photo shoot for, it was called the Finest Barber and Finest Stylist magazine. And I paid for a photo shoot. That was traditional back then. We didn't have social media. And I put my haircuts in this magazine. The magazine sold, and they sold at Bronner. And my magazine came across the desk of Erica Washington. Erica called me. She said, "Hey, I would love for you to compete in our show." And I told her, "I don't want to compete." She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "That's not what I'm about." She's like, "Have you seen our competition?" So she sent me a DVD. DVDs were popular back then. Sent me DVD and of two years of competitors, what it looked like. And it was like a Broadway style theme production, music, dancers, makeup, fashion, hair. Like, it was just a whole thing. It was an experience of entertainment. And I was curious, and she called me up. She said, "Hey, did you receive our videos?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you going to compete?" I said, I don't think it's what I want to do." And she said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to teach." And she said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I also hold the account for getting the classes. You compete in my show, I'll give you classes." I said, "Sign me up." And so I knew that I had to come with a high level of entertainment, excitement, but bring the skill. The skill I wasn't concerned with. So it took me 3 months to prepare. We did 3 months, 3 hours a day, 3 days a week of practice. We did modeling practice, we did dance practice, and then for the last month, I rented out a boys club and girls club. And I taped off, you talk about commitment, I taped off the measurements of the stage in the gymnasium every day of practice because it needed to be precise. We needed our timing to be accurate, the music, the lighting, the special effects. It needed to be a Broadway production. We went down, I was the rookie. Nobody knew me, nobody knew anything about me. You had to submit your presentation before you actually arrived at the show about a month ahead of time. And so we had to kind of send our video, audio production stuff. And we sent it down there. She was excited. And when they see it, then they put you in your first, second, third, or fourth. They put me last. So, I was like, man, I'm the rookie. Nobody knows me. Why are you going to put me last? But I wanted to be last. I really wanted to be last because I needed to leave them with a really strong impression of who I was and what I represent. And at the time, it wasn't about my haircuts. It wasn't about the show. It was about delivering excellence. And I needed to deliver excellence in that so that way they can see my commitment level so that way they knew I would deliver excellence in the classroom.
It's an amazing story, man. It's an amazing story. You won, and that's really what started the opportunities flooded in for education after that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was always volunteering in cosmetology school, so I was doing that for years. But when I decided to do the competition, yes, it opened up the opportunity to teach at a higher level. So now I'm being seen at different shows and different events, and then I'm applying at different shows and different events. So, I taught at IBS, New York, IHS, New York, that was in Secaucus, Bronner Brothers, Premier Orlando for years. And then I took an 8-year hiatus from the shows. I actually went into golf and really wanted to do more golf. I decided to start a family. So I was focused on family and golf.
He's a beast of a golfer, by the way. We took
I got
him
my golf shirt on.
EWP. We took him down to the golf, man. Sorry.
Oh yeah, but we went to
the range place. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Top Golf.
Man, none of us could hit it 10 feet, but Tyrik out there, it's all in the flow, guys. It's in the hips. I'm like, I can't get it, bro.
So, I wanted to golf, but I wanted to be a golf teacher because I still enjoyed teaching. The truth is that during that 8 years, although I got to enjoy some freedom and do things that I like to do, and I got to start my family with my wife, I really got to a place where I felt like as much as I loved golf, as much as I loved cutting hair, I never finished a goal that I set out when I was 17, 18 years old, was to open up a school. And so that's when the commitment of opening up a school. So in 2010, I began to figure out what I was going to do. In 2011, I worked at a barber school, and it was the only school in town. And interesting thing happened. They came to me because I volunteered at the cosmetology schools, and the cosmetology instructor said, you need to hire Tyrik. So I didn't even know if school was open. And this was before the building even came. And they called me up. I did an interview. I had a great time at the interview. And they told me it was like $18 an hour. And I was like, I can't do that. Not because I felt like I was better than that. I was only working 2 days a week and making, 75 grand a year. So I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, but I had a goal in mind. I still wanted a school. So with a couple more conversations, some negotiation, the campus director said, I got a question for you. We sat down with you 3-4 times. You're our guy. You're what we want. Why is it that you haven't committed? And, we've never paid anybody what you're requesting. And I said, you've never had anybody like me with my resume, and the other thing I said to him was, he said, well, I don't know if we can afford to have you. I said, I don't know if you can afford not to have you.
Sheesh.
And I said, look, I've lived in this town all my life. I've opened up 2 shops in this town, in the last, at the time, I think it was like 10 years that I was already in business. And they were like, I said, so everybody knows me in this town. I'm going to be a draw to the school, and it's going to benefit the school in the long run. You got to invest in short term, and so we negotiated that I would get paid a little bit more, right? I was the highest paid instructor in the entire company, which wasn't much. I was only $25 an hour, right? But I worked in that I could cut my clients when the school was closed. So school was closed at 3:30. So from 3:30 till 10 o'clock at night, I could cut my clients at the school, which freed up my chair at the barbershop so I could rent my chair out. And now I'm cutting at a school making money. So I leveraged my strengths and my opportunities by working with this company. But the whole time I was learning how to run and manage a school. That was the long-term investment. Although I may not have gotten the salary that I would have wanted at first, I got 3 raises within 2 years. I moved up to a campus director, which was the ultimate because now I'm the head honcho of the school and I know all the nuances of running a school. And so that was the commitments. Too many people will turn down a short-term investment that will help to build in the long term. I didn't marry the first idea. If I would have married the first idea, I would have stayed at the school and collected a salary, right? If they would have said, Tyrik, we'll give you 150 grand, I may have said, well, shoot, 150 grand, I don't have no obligations, I'll stay here. Where, at the school now, currently, we do close to $1 million in revenue at the school. Now, I don't make $1 million, right? We got bills and we got expenses.
Staff and
however, I'm in a much better position now as the owner with all the headaches and all the everything else that goes with it. But I'm in a much better position rather than marrying the idea of being the man at the school rather than owning the school.
So sacrifice up front and long-term payoff. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
People nowadays, we live in an instant society, right? A microwave society. Everybody wants everything right now. Everybody wants to leave school and be Tyrik Jackson right now. Everybody wants to leave school and cut hair like Barber Josh OP right now. It doesn't happen like that. I mean, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes in. I mean, he was telling you, I think I heard you mention in another interview that it was an hour and 45 minutes one way. You're driving 3 hours.
Right now, current, yeah. So it's interesting. You talk about commitment. The school in Lancaster was 5 minutes from my house, 5 minutes from my barbershop. Some days I would ride my bicycle, not bike, motorcycle, bicycle to school
Powered
for exercise and right there. No big deal. I would ride my bike to school. I ride my bike to the gym, go home. No big deal. Come to the shop, ride my bike. I'm getting the exercise and energy. When I committed to go to Wilmington, Delaware, it's an hour and 40 to hour and 45 minutes one way every day, right? 10 months. My school currently is an hour and 10 minutes, right? So I do that every single day currently. So I'm committed. A lot of people don't see that. They're like, oh man, you got a school and you got a shop and dude, I just closed one of my shops in December. So thank God that we closed it down and downsized and renovated this one and outfitted this one for a more compact, a different type of experience. You got me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, for a different type of experience because currently I'm able to manage this a little bit better and I didn't have to worry about the expenses during the shutdown. So I was grateful that we made the decision to shut the larger location down in December because we didn't know what was going to happen. But God he has his way of positioning us. If we're listening and we're paying attention and we follow the script, that you really put yourself in a better position.
I want to make sure people understand that, right? Like to this day, today you said your school is an hour and 10 minutes from where you live and you have to make that commute. And I think a lot of people, I've been doing that
since 2013.
Since 2013.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have this misconception, right, that with success you have to work less once success comes. You know what I mean? Like Bazio's just chilling somewhere on a beach, and I'm relaxing, and Danny's just on a jet ski. Like your plate only gets fuller. I mean, you get more responsibility. It's harder.
Absolutely.
I remember being, because Danny's been one of my mentors, and Danny, he's been in my life forever.
Danny's solid, man.
Danny is
He's
phenomenal. Been phenomenal in my life. But I remember asking Danny, this was years ago, like, when we first opened our first location. I said, Danny, when is the right time? Like, when can I say, all right, I could chill, man, I made it? When can I go get, that dream car? And I heard you talk about the dream car today. And he's like, there's no right answer for that, because the grind never stops. You never stop grinding. It only increases, if anything. I remember just being a barber. You know what I'm talking about, Tyrik, and just going in and worrying about my book, my clients, pay my rent, go home, and it's just unplug and chill. Now there is no unplugging now.
There's no, when you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, there's no unplug. I'm still committed to making that commute and that drive. I'm still committed to the barbershop. Still committed to my family. I'm still committed to the things I got to do. And sometimes I get up early. I was mentioning to you before we went live. Today is Tuesday. Tuesday's a day where I don't choose to do a lot of things early, because I want to focus on Tyrik Talk Tuesday. So just so you know, and I know I shared it with you, but for the viewers, at 6:30 this morning, I had a conference call. At 7:30, an hour later, I had a conference call from the UK for Barber Evo. I do their column for every issue. And so we select a day, and Tuesdays I'm okay with, because normally I'm commuting, right? So it's a good time for me to just have that dialogue while I'm commuting. In this case, they called me today, and we did that at 7:30. And then I did my Tyrik Talk Tuesday at 9:30. And now here we are on the podcast. On the barber session. Doing this interview. So it's been nonstop for me since 6:30. I didn't go to bed till 1:30. So you're talking, and not because I'm up binge watching TV, I'm creating, I'm still making stuff, I'm still doing stuff, I'm strategizing. Sometimes I unplug and I decompress, and I'm just in a quiet place, but I'm not sleeping. I'm just absorbing, and sometimes these thoughts come to me. A lot of times when I'm in the shower, and a lot of times when I'm in bed, I'll wake up at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and the thought will come. I had something else I wanted to talk about on my live today. Completely different, totally different. And then at 2 a.m, I get up to go to the bathroom, and this thought is just agitating me. And I said, you gotta have the right data. And so I put that down. And then once I released that out of my system, in the morning when I got up before my 6:30 call, right, I started just pondering on that and started taking little notes and just adding. Didn't make sense. Just kind of threw some stuff in there, right, just to get the juices flowing. I only had about 5 bullet points. I didn't have no script to read. I just was pulling from experiences and thoughts that were coming to me. I had 4 videos I was going to play, and I didn't even play them because I was just in a flow. I was in a flow, and it happens that way sometimes, but that just comes with years of experience. And so I'm committed. I don't sleep very much, and I don't. And sleep is important. Water is important. It's essential, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, the grind just doesn't stop.
I remember Bazio said one time on one of our live streams, when you do what your passion is and what you truly love, right? Because some people confuse passion because they see barbering or they see owning a barbershop as it can get me this or I can acquire that. But when you're truly passionate about what you do, and you would do it, I wouldn't say for free, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
There is no work-life balance, and he used the term life balance. It's both. It's just life because I love what I do. I don't stop what I do. When I go home, I spend the family time and the acknowledgement, and that's important, and being present. But he goes, it never stops because I love what I do, so it just doesn't stop. But Tyrik, I want to go back to the shows because you talked about barbering being the armpit of most shows, and I remember that. I remember my first trip to the premiere. I was blown away, right? The first time you go to the premiere, it's like, this, I'm a little guppy in school, and it's like,
where the barbers at?
This. Well, not just the barbers at. It was just overwhelming, the sheer size of that show. It's huge. And then it was, where the barbers at? And it was a little corner. Major League Barbers in the corner. It's like little thing off to the side, all the way in the back corner of the show. And now, the barbers had a main stage last year. Our booth was right next to it. They had a main stage and a competition, and I
was there.
It's crazy.
I was there.
But Tyrik, all these other shows, you know, CT continues to innovate, continues to change, continues to break barriers. You know, Premiere, IBS Premiere Philadelphia was amazing. By the way, quick story, guys. When you go to a city and somebody tells you to try something or go here, go here, listen, okay? Because we were with a big group. Tyrik remembers this. We were a big group and we were walking out and, hey, Tyrik, what are you doing? No, we're going to chill. Let's link up. Tyrik said, okay, well, we can link up tomorrow. I'm a little busy. And we had like 14 people with us. But he said, listen, if you're going to go somewhere next to Max's, and if y'all have seen Creed right there in the front where there's a scene shot there, and Max's, the Phillies are good, but Tyrik said, right next to it, there's a place that serves seafood. Get the Dungeness crab.
And I said, it's a hole in the wall.
That's exactly what it is, bro.
But it was packed.
Bro.
It was jumping, and the crabs were amazing.
Insane. But this is the best part of it, right? Me and Bazio, because everybody else heard that. Me and Bazio, listen, I love seafood. I love Dungeness crabs. I said, all right, let's do that. Everyone else in our group said,
want a cheesesteak.
We want to get a cheesesteak. And they stood in line. Hey, they stood in line. I'm not lying to you, bro. Because, you know, you can see the line from the window. You already know. They stood in line. They must have been in line for like 45 minutes. Me and Bazio ordered our food, got our food, walked back out, saw them through the glass, waved with our food, ate, had a couple, you know, adult beverages, phenomenal food. We were done stuff. By the time they were done, we're like, man, we're going back to the Airbnb. Like,
you know what's crazy is that, so I've been going to Max's since I was a kid. I mean, first time I ever experienced Max's, I might have been 14 years old. And we just been going for years and years. And going, I got so used to that place. And I would go to other places. There's a couple other spots I like. But when I asked you guys what you wanted to eat, I was like, what do you like? And they were like, well, you know, somebody was like seafood. Somebody else said, you know, I want a Philly cheesesteak. I said, I got you.
Both.
It's not going to be the best environment. I told you, I said, listen, it's not a sit down, chill diner, you know, or a restaurant experience, but you're going to get a really good cheesesteak. And right next door, they got the most amazing Dungeness crabs. And, you know, I had to give you the disclaimer first because I'm so familiar with that space, you know what I mean? And so I've been going for years.
But listen, it was dope, man. I personally, I love the atmosphere. I think Loco made a mistake or something like that in there, and that's what it's just the ambiance is everything, right? Because you feel like, you know, it's just like it's part of the community. Man. It's real. It's real deal. Holyfield. You know,
did he get cussed out?
He got cursed out, bro. He said something, man. Like me and Boz are eating, everybody else is standing in line, and he said, Bazio said, you ain't want to eat, bro? He said, nah, I'm gonna get a Philly from another spot. And it's one of the bigger name ones, not the ones that are across from each other. It's another brand that has, it's usually on the second floor.
So not Pat's, not Geno's, just enough like Ishkabibbles or Gems.
I can't remember. But either way, he said, I'm copping one from there. But he said it, you know, his voice travels. I don't think he understood that he was saying it aloud. And the chick behind the bar said, man, get the F out of here, bro. You gonna go where?
Yeah, I don't doubt
she looked at the bartender, man, this fool right here. And then he went over and tried to get a beer for one of us, and they were like, nah. And hey, miss, no, it's for me. Oh, all right, we'll give it for you, but you, man, get out. Go
that's
on, go on over there.
That's like going, you know what? He would have had the same problem had he went in there and said, F the Eagles, I'm a Tampa Bay fan or something. Oh, he'd have been done.
Over with.
Oh, yeah, done.
You want
done. Get him out of here.
you don't want to do that, bro. But speaking on the shows, though, the Philly premiere and all that stuff, what do you think happened, Tyrik, in your opinion, to what, in my opinion, was the mecca of the barber shows in Bronner Brothers? It's just a different vibe now. You know what I mean? Like when I went, phenomenal panels, like the panel conversations in the classes, like, wow. But the main floor, I'm seeing fake Gucci belts and stuff. I'm like, what happened here?
Adaptability. The problem that I found with them, and I've got a relationship with them, and I shared it. they've been behind the ball with a lot of things. And so as, we're in an ever-changing industry. You either change with it or you die from it, period. That's it.
Facts.
Technology, getting data, whatever that is. And they've been behind the ball. They were ahead of the game with the shows and the events, ahead of the game with theatrics. But you can't stay there. That's the short term, right? You have to be able to pivot and shift with momentum. Now that you have the momentum, how do you pivot? And when I talk to some of the people that I have relationships with there at Bronner, I said, look, a lot of the stuff that you're doing, you're not connected to what's going on. You're not on social media. You don't have an app for your show. Like, you want your vendors to sell. If people are downloading an app, they take their app to all the booths. They get like a QR code. They win this $500 gift prize that Bronner. Get everyone involved with new technology so you can get that database. You can't do email listings like you could before anymore. There's still work. I'm not saying they don't work, but that's not how people do it. Push notifications are powerful. Notifications on your phone are powerful. Text messaging right now is powerful, to communicate with people. They can either stop it or keep it going. So there's so many different ways to communicate. And when you're not connected with what people are doing in the now and teaching your consumer to adjust, that's the key. The barber shows decline, right? The hair battles.
The barber battles
decline.
Yeah.
I think in the last few years, education has been one of the things that people want. We're in a time where people just want information. The rise of YouTube, the rise of social media. This year, as a matter of fact, is called the Year of the Mouth. It's ironic that we have to cover our mouths because this is the Year of the Mouth. Now, if you pay attention, not only are people's mouths being covered and it's considered the Year of the Mouth, more people are speaking out. You got protests. You have people's opinions being very, very strong. They're bringing data to support their opinions. Right now, you have people that are, whatever your worldview is, you have people that are saying the science is giving us the best information. You have other people saying there's propaganda and this, that. But the Year of the Mouth, we have the ability to get the data and now can speak on it. And so being in that place, I don't think that Bronner and some of the shows really have adapted to the change, and so here we are, years removed from the shows, and people want education, and you got to have quality education. What I tell people all the time, even in my classes, you may have heard me plenty of times, and that's great. I appreciate you. I want you to come to my class. However, if I'm talking about something that you've been to a class that I spoke on that same thing, go to another class. Go to a class and learn the thing you don't know. If you're a barber, don't go to another fade class. Don't go to another clipper class. Go to the business class. Go to the technology class. Go to the app building class. Go to, product development or the product sales and retail class. Those are the things you need to do to build your business and continue to evolve, because we're in an ever-changing industry. You either change with it or you die from it.
I think education is key, man. This next generation is just, there's a different hunger for it, right? Like when I went to school, it was different. And I'm sure there's still some elements of that, but it was like high school all over again. You know what I mean? Like some people were there about their business and some people were just,
I got out of school, so
you already know.
I see the kids that come in and they treat it like it's high school. And then I see the kids who come in and they actually take it serious. The ones that come in and they're focused on, and I see the old guy who's retiring from his job and he's like, look, I ain't trying to be on that tight time no more. Like, I need to be
free.
I got to make this work. And the commitment level is high. And I've also noticed that people who self-pay generally take it more serious than somebody who's getting government aid to come to school, because in their mind, it's like, I ain't paying for it. They are.
You're paying for it.
They're paying for it with their time. They're paying for it with what they're investing into it. And then at the end, they're going to have a loan that they got to pay back. So they're paying for it. But the ones who kind of just utilize the system to go, not all the time. Most cases, those are the ones that don't take it as serious.
Yeah. Like I said, I saw it. And we have unique paths in the sense that we both went to cosmetology school. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I went to cosmetology school. And I don't have many regrets, but one regret that I have is I didn't necessarily treat it like high school. I was about my business, but I focused so much on the fading part of it. I focused so much on the barber part of it because it was what was cool. You know what I mean? The Jesse Limas and all this. I focused so much on the blurry blends and all that stuff that I forgot about the stuff that I needed to practice while I was in school, because one day it would pay off, or as yourself, I would turn into a beast, for lack of a better term, because now education is key with that. And everybody wants to learn shears and styling because what the customer wants, and you, at the end of the day, we serve our customers. Like it or not, we serve our customers. The customers now want the styling of cosmetology, the texture, the shears, all that stuff, with the sharp lines and the blurry blends that the barbers provide. And now a lot of barbers were like, wait, I can't do, when Justin Bieber came around, a lot of people went hungry, bro. You know what I mean?
I think that's a lot what set me apart early in the game, why Bronner wanted me. So I was a barber apprentice for about 6 or 7 months in a barbershop. I was already cutting hair. So I went to cosmetology school because there was no barber school. But my real father, he died in 1995 of HIV and AIDS. He told me, you need to start cutting with scissors. That's what he said. And I said, I don't care about that. I know they're called shears, but that's what he said, scissors, right? So he was like, you need to learn to cut with scissors. All these old school barbers, they know how to style hair with a blow dryer, scissors, and combs and brushes, and you don't do that. You do real nice fades and sharp lines and designs. Not everybody's going to get that. This is what he says to me, you want to be able to have longevity. And so I said, I'm going to sign up to the school because that's the way I can get my license and learn something else. So for me, I did take advantage of it. I wanted to learn color and texture and chemical services. And so what did I do at the barbershop? I had my hair platinum for a whole year. I put designs in the basketball team, like the high school basketball kids, put color in their hair while I was designing them. I permed and relaxed hair at the barbershop for guys who wanted waves, like 360 Jeezy. Back then, we didn't have YouTube, right? So I was like, I can use a comb through texturizer and put this in your hair for 5 minutes, and then you wear a do-rag, maintain, and brush it. You're going to have these waves. So these were things that I was doing in 95, 96, 97, 98, and so then in 2003, 4 or 5, when I started going to more shows like Bronner, in 2005, they invited me. And I think it had a lot to do with that hybrid of quality work. Like I can style and cut and blow dry and color and fade and design all in one package. You don't need to go down the street to the salon to get your hair colored. I got you.
One-stop shop.
I think that set me up.
One-stop shop. That's awesome. So, Tyrik, I want to talk about practice. You talked today about practice because 80% of football, you mentioned football, 80% of football is practice, right? It's the stuff that people don't see. It's the ugly stuff every week, grinding, beating yourself up. And then you get that, that 60 minutes of glory. So let's talk about, practice and investing in yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mentioned to you earlier I wanted to be a golfer. Like I was like, I want to be a golfer. Like I didn't see myself on the PGA Tour, but I did say, hey, one of these days I'm gonna meet Tiger Woods. I did. I said, I'm gonna go to a PGA event. I did. And I took it seriously. But I thought that you get in the club, hitting the golf ball and hitting it down the hole, and then trying to get in there on par and make par 5, 3, or 4 was like cool. Like if I was just in the motion, I was having fun. It wasn't until I understood that in order for me to score better, play better, and put myself in a position to really enjoy, I had to push myself. And so instead of playing 3-4 times a day, I practiced 4 times a day. 4 times a week. 4 times a week. And then I played on Sunday. And then I played on Sunday and Wednesday, but practiced every single day. And when that happened, I saw my scores going from 100 to in the 90s to the 80s to actually breaking 80, being at 70, and almost making par. And so I was all the way down to like an 8 handicap, which was pretty good for an amateur golfer who didn't really have any lessons, that just practiced and prepared. I studied the game. I practiced. I put a plan together. I stuck to that plan. The more I practiced, the better I became. And it's the same thing I've seen during quarantine, guys cutting on their mannequins, and you can tell that they're practicing, they're preparing for the comeback. You know, I saw people strategizing for the business. That's practicing, preparing for the comeback. There was a lot of people who weren't. They were binge watching and being lazy and doing nothing, you know. Then there were people who were re-strategizing their business. I don't know if many people know this, but I know 360 G's. If you notice, he's become a model now. Not only does he do the haircuts, but he's restructured stuff. He's now leveraged his fan base, leveraged his data, if you will. So now he's getting clothes and garments and stuff. And instead of buying clothes, they're sending him clothes. And now he's modeling that clothes at the same time, marketing his hair, marketing his brand, marketing himself. So some people restructured their business. Ivan Zoot, for example, you know, I talked to him about shows. He said, Tyrik, you know, I've been doing shows for a really, really long time. I have to restructure how I'm doing shows, especially with this COVID thing happening. It's a huge amount of my income per year traveling and doing shows, because he's giving up the shop life to do show life, right? And now that there's no show life for the past half of the year, right? We're going into the second half of the year now. He has to restructure. So you see him doing more Instagram lives. You see him doing more Facebook lives and trying to channel people to his website and his book so he can create the revenue he needs, because he's been focusing on shows for such a long, long time. And so restructuring the business. Those are a couple of examples of people who've done that.
It goes back to what you just said with the shows itself, not the individuals. It's adapt or die, man. It's that simple. Adapt or die. It's a fast moving world, and it's a new world right now with all this COVID stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
Tyrik, in your opinion, you've had your school since 2013, right?
Yes.
What is the biggest mistake that rookies make?
Talk about when you say rookies like rookies who want to open up a school. You're talking about students coming out of school.
Students coming out of school. Students coming out of school.
So, you know, it really has a lot to do. Attitude is a reflection of leadership. Okay. And if you don't have the right leadership in the business, right, in the school, in the classroom, in that environment, they're not given the right message. For example, I've heard all the time people go into schools and they're like, no, we're going to make you your own business owner, and they're selling the wrong story to the potential student. That's not what I do. It's not what we do. If that's something you want to do, we can have that conversation. More importantly, we want to be really realistic with you and what the expectation is going to be. So setting that expectation from the very beginning, we tell you there's going to be things that you're going to have to do that you're not going to want to do. There's going to be things that we're going to require of you to do that you're probably not going to really enjoy doing. It's going to be a 10-month commitment. It's a 10-month job interview. When people are looking for people to hire, we're going to send you to places that we think is going to best suit you and suit them, because you are going to be an example of what the school provides. That's a totally different conversation than, yo, when you get out of here, you're going to be your own boss. You can make $100,000 a year. That is not the conversation that we have. In fact, people have come to the school ready to sign up, financial aid eligible, and we're sitting there with them, and it's like, you know, I don't know if this program is for you. Based on the data that I'm getting from you on our conversation, I don't know if our program is going to be the best for you, because we need a commitment. Can you commit? If you can't commit, then it's best that you don't sign the papers to commit, because it's going to put you in a financial crunch. You're not going to finish. You're going to have to pay this loan back. You don't pay it back, it's going to affect our default record, but it's also going to affect your credit. And so we talk them right out of it. And so I think if schools are giving the right expectation, then they don't set the rookie up for failure. That's what I believe. Now, what I find most people, because most schools aren't sharing that, right? So let's focus on most. Most people come in thinking, I'm gonna make $100,000 a year. I'm gonna come in and be my own boss. You know, that's why I chose, I'm gonna do booth rent so you can't tell me what to do. And they have the wrong mentality.
The wrong why.
If you really want to have your own business and do your own thing, then get a suite. You ain't got nobody telling you what to do except for that contract that you signed. They're going to tell you when you can and can't be in their hours of operation. They're going to tell you what you can and can't do. If you don't pay, they're going to shut your electric off, right? You're going to still have some guidelines, but you're your own boss. Nobody's telling you what to do. When you come out of school, if that's your mentality, then don't go work for anybody. Go open up a suite and do your own thing. When you discover how difficult it is to build a business, you will appreciate the opportunity to go work somewhere else where you can help grow your business and that business simultaneously. And so if you have the right mindset going into the business, you're going to have a better outcome. It's like a bank account. No deposit, no withdrawal. You don't put anything in, you don't get anything out.
Yeah.
And I just recently had a guy who was here for a while and he left. He moved to Philadelphia. And he's like, yo, that social media stuff you told me to do, that mess up your timeline challenge, it works. And he says, and I was like, well, duh.
I know.
We told you it works. It works if you work it. He says, I'm sorry, while I was at the shop, I was lazy. I would do it sometime, but I was lazy. Now that I moved to a new area where nobody knows me, in a new shop that's just starting, not to mention it's just starting right out of COVID, right? They're rebuilding everything. So he's like, yo, I did what you told me to do, this strategy. I gained 10 new customers just through social media. Not only did I get 10 new customers, they never got a haircut here before, so it's all new. They're following me. They started following me back and came in and got a haircut because I used some of the strategies you told me to use. And then he said, I'm sorry. I was spoiled by eating the Oreos that you guys worked hard to provide me before I got there. And now I have to go and get my own Oreos. It's a little inside Oreo cookie joke that we have at the barbershop.
I love it, man. And I love the fact that guys like you are making legitimate change in this industry. Guys like Jay with the schools, you know what I mean? Where it's you're not necessarily saying no, but you're talking them out of it. Like, listen, maybe this isn't the spot for you because here at this school, there's a certain level of expectations, and I'm setting them from the beginning. This is the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't want to be here, that's okay. You can go to the other school that's going to sell you, you know, candy canes and whatever and $100,000.
Can you imagine if you met a girl, right? Let's put this in perspective. You meet a girl, she's fine, body's banging, right? Smells good. You smell good. You looking at her, she looking at you, right?
Just clicking, it's vibing.
You're like, man, the vibes is moving. And you sit down for a conversation, and you're like, look, I'm trying to get to know you. And she says, I don't know if I'm the right girl for you. You're like, what? I like a challenge, girl. You must got me confused. Well, I'm recently divorced. I got 3 baby daddies, okay? I can't have any more children. And I had 2 STDs. They were curable. I don't still have them, but I obtained them through these different relationships that I have. What do you think your commitment level to this girl is going to be at this point? Some people may say, well, the disease is cool. I can deal with kids. I'm going to go for it, right?
Yeah.
But some people be like, yeah, I don't know. She might be too promiscuous. 3 baby daddies, 4 kids, married, divorced. This might not be either they are the problem or she's the problem. Listen, she set the expectation up front. Now you got to make a decision.
Can you imagine if people did that more often?
Women did that and men did that up front.
Right.
You would really, really help yourself out in the long run.
There'd be a lot less divorces, man.
You know, but you'll never really get to know someone truly in a week, in a month, in 3-4 years. I've been with my wife 22 years. I'm still learning new stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but there were expectations set in the very beginning. I'm going to tell you, when I met her, I said, I'm not interested in a relationship. She says, me either. I was like, great. I said, I need somebody to talk to. I just got out of a long-term relationship and I got a kid on the way. And I don't want to involve you in my relationship because it's going to put a challenge between me and my ex, and I won't be able to see my kid. This was an initial conversation within the first week of meeting my now wife.
Just blunt,
right? And not to mention that in that conversation, I was already sexually active, so I was open to talk about things that I like sexually and vice versa. You know, she wasn't a sexually active, so it was like hard to have that conversation. But the expectation was set, right? So moving forward in the relationship, and I'm being very real because I think it's important to set the expectation to have the conversation. We broke up once the baby was born. We started seeing each other, got really, really serious. We broke up once that my daughter was born to my ex. And it wasn't because I didn't want to be with her. It's because I didn't want that tension between the girls. And I said that from the very beginning. She stepped back. It was okay. 3, 4 months, 6 months in, I missed her. I didn't want to be with my baby mom, so that was easy. Yeah. Right? I wanted to be with my kid. Right? But I missed my girlfriend now. We got back together. We've been together ever since. You know, but I set the tone early of what that expectation was and what I was looking for, and hopefully she can oblige me or not. It's fine. I wasn't looking for a relationship, right? But these are the things that happen when you set the standard and the expectation up front. You'll get a much better result. I think if schools did that, I think if barbershops did that, I think if just conversation is everything. Yeah. You know, I don't hire talented barbers with a solid book. You know, they're a headache. They got I already habits, know man. What I'm going to get from them. Yeah. Can't change their mindset. But guys like this guy, Josh over here, Josh was one of my students at the barber school. This guy was committed. He lives here and he drove to Philly every day.
Shout out to Josh, man. Josh, what's your IG, bro?
Josh's IG, xv.josh.
Go follow Josh, everybody. Go
follow Josh. Not only that, Deshaun, the guy who said something to you earlier, yes. He's another student of mine. That guy was committed, drove from Lancaster. He's committed. That's why they work here. Their commitment level. I know what to expect from them, and they know what to expect from me. There's no surprises. They knew how I was as an instructor. They knew how I was in business. They've shadowed me. They followed me. They've heard conversations over the phone, you know, because we commuted together, and they learned how I operate. So they're committed. They're committed to being here. COVID, I lost 3, 4 guys. Not these two, not my 2 students. The commitment level is there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's real interesting. You get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? These guys know what they get from me. You know, they know the commitment level I'm going to give them, and I know what the expectation from them is because in the last few years they've been going to school and then coming and working here, and so here we are.
No surprises. But every now and then, though, right? Like I was listening to another show you did, or interview you did, and man, you had me rolling. By the way, bro, man, Core water. That's the best water ever. By the way, I'm drinking this nasty stuff right now because I ran out of Core. But that water right there.
Shout out to Core. Let's get the sponsorship.
Shout out, yeah, sponsor the podcast, man. Sponsor the Premier Barber Institute. You know what I'm saying, Core? And by the way, Get Beam put me onto that. Shout out to Get Beam, man. He put me on the Core. Core is amazing. But every now and then, Tyrik, you get surprises, right? I was listening to that interview you did, and I was rolling, bro. I can't remember the name of the barber, but it was one of your original location, where this guy will be up front with chicks. You know, moms will go in there with the kids and be like, hey, listen to me. I'm gonna mess up your credit. Up front. I'm gonna mess up your credit. I'm gonna mess up your car. I'm gonna leave. You know, he was just up front, and they would still talk. Hey, haha, that's funny. And then 3 months later, they're looking at you like, he messed up my credit. He messed up. So every now and then you must get a student that you tell, hey, maybe this isn't the school for you. And then they want to whine and complain when you tell them, hey, you're not meeting the expectations.
Absolutely. Listen, his name was Doug. The barber's name was Doug.
Shout out to
Doug. He
said,
said, I'm a liar and I'm a cheater. He said, I'm going to mess your credit up.
Bro, just blunt like that.
And they would laugh and they would commit. You get in a relationship And then when they would come at him like, why you cheat on me? He's like, I told you the first time I met you, I was going to cheat on you. He was so straight up, and he said it in a way that may sound joking, but he was, and I look at the girls, I'm like, he ain't lying.
He ain't lying. He told you. I was there. Didn't one of them drive into your shop, like literally drive their car through the shop?
She drove her van into the brick trying to kill him.
Bro.
He ended up marrying her, though.
That spice. Must have loved that spice.
Hey,
man.
but the expectation was set up front.
I love it, bro. I love it. Tyrik, I want to talk about, I don't know how much time you have. If I'm infringing, let me know. Because I appreciate your time. I know it's valuable, and you're a pretty busy guy. So just say
this is
when.
Deshaun who I was talking about earlier.
Shout out to Deshaun.
Another
Deshaun,
guy.
what's your IG, bro?
Yo, what's your ID? IG.
Deshaun_Neville.
Well, you got to spell it. Nobody knows how to spell Deshaun.
DASHAUN_NEVILLE.
There you go.
Shout out to Deshaun. Go follow Deshaun too, as well. I want to talk about something that stuck with me when you came to EWP down here in beautiful Tampa Bay, my city. I love it. And we had that panel, and you were one of our educators. And the one thing that stuck with me, even though it's so simple, right? It's the simple things that are important, though, in all industries and all careers. My guy. You remember that? You had the whole classroom. My guy! Yeah. And it's like, a lot of barbers forget that, especially now, Tyrik, in this, again, microwave instant world that we live in. Everybody has, this, and they have IG, and everybody's a celebrity barber, and everybody has, I have 1,000 followers, and it's like, at the end of the day, my guy, that guy that would walk in, you may not do nothing all day, but you can count on my guy, that guy to come in the morning, or that would last one before you close to put money in your pocket. People lose sight of that. Let's talk about my guy.
Yeah, I did a full series on how to educate, not for EWP. That's what I was bringing for EWP this year, right? But I did a full webinar, and any of you guys that want some of my webinar content, if you like this interview, there's so much more information outside of this. I did a webinar series with Effects Apps. We did how to create content, understanding your social media platforms, right? We did one on how to start a business. We did one on video editing and content creation. And then I did one on proper education from speaking, whether you're a YouTuber, Instagrammer, in a school, working, volunteering, or maybe you're apprenticing one person at the shop. And in that series of educating, something you just mentioned on my guy, hey, there are things that you want people to remember. You need to connect with them because of their learning style, because of the way that they may receive information, and the type of people that they are. A lot of educators don't connect with their audience. And what I was able to do, because I've been teaching for a long time, is engage with the audience. That my guy statement happened in the moment. It wasn't part of my plan. I had I had my thing rolling, but my PowerPoint was moving, but I paused for a second. And as I was giving an illustration about what we do, I was talking about how barbers lie, and they don't go home on time. That's what I was talking about. And everyone connected with that. And so like a comedian who tells a joke and everyone begins to laugh, what happened was, as they were laughing, I said, let me take it a little bit further. And I got into that. And now it was a thing that by the time I said it and we got to everyone was like, hey, my God. Everybody in the room was doing it. And so I knew that I had their attention. And that was like probably 35, 40 minutes into the presentation. That wasn't in the very beginning. In the beginning, I got their attention. I started bringing some information. Then I connected with them again, making sure I still had everybody's attention. And then 35, 40 minutes, we get into that one little segment. And I knew this was a moment to go to another place that can relate to everyone. And I knew that by sharing that, it literally just happened in the moment.
Struck a chord in the whole room. I mean, I still remember.
That is when you, as an educator, you pull from your well of experiences and you pour it out. And so if you want to learn how to do that, that is on my
you can send me the links.
webinar.
We can put the links below.
So yeah, we can put the links below. It is the link in my bio as well. It's called 2020 Vision. And the reason why is because it's a new decade. Although we're having the most difficult start of a decade, here's the reality, is that you can't enjoy the victory without a great battle. And right now, we're battling, learning, and struggling to get through. But this is going to be the beginning of a whole new decade that could really take us to the next place. And if you're planning and preparing, you then have to execute. And so if you're interested in that, I'll make sure you get the link. The link's in my bio. It's called 2020 Vision. He said he's going to put the links below, so I definitely appreciate that. But if you want to learn how to do that, that's what I was doing. So that story, every barber who's ever cut can connect with that. Comedians do it very, very well. And when they find it, they keep hitting you with it the whole time. It's like when Kevin Hart was like, all right. Yep. Everybody knew that, and then the whole audience was doing it. And you knew that they were into the presentation.
How many times have you heard people say, help? Help me, please? It just connects, man. It connects. And it's true. When you said that, even at the after party, man, people were having a good time, and it was like, my God.
Yeah. They remembered it, though. It hit them. It struck a nerve. They were connecting with. It was such an amazing time. I had an amazing presentation for the next one, but we'll get it together.
We'll get it. Tyrik, another one that stuck with me in your live today was when you were talking about the long-term investment, the vehicles, the house, like how you went in your house, you walked up the steps, you walked up the stairs, the realtor's looking at you like you're crazy. And this stuff is real. This stuff works. It struck a chord with me today because people used to look at me like I was crazy. At our first location, not many people know, but at our first location and at our our second, third, fourth, I'm the crazy one, right? I would park, and I parked at the first one right in front of the shop. Shop's empty. It's not even a sign up. No paint, no chairs, just sign the lease before we even sign the lease in a lot of cases. Park in front of the shop, and I literally just sit there, and I watch the traffic. And I count the traffic with a little clicker. I click it. You got a Hungry Howie's to the right of us. Got a Chinese spot to the left of us. I count the people, how many people within the hour come in and out of there. Because I want to make sure that if I'm signing this lease, this long-term investment, this is the spot that I want to be at. And that there's not going to be stagnant traffic. So I just want to make sure I told you that because that struck with me and it brought up that memory because I don't do that a lot anymore. But in the beginning, when I was hungry, when I was
you was hungry.
Desperate, when I was like, man, this has to work because I'm putting everything I got into this. Man,
something else I didn't
that would give us an
mention.
edge.
Where I used to live, I was right off the highway. It took me 5 minutes to Walmart, 5 minutes to the mall, 5 minutes to the turnpike. When I moved to where I live now, I remember the first time, it was something I didn't consider, that I had to drive to Walmart. It took me 20 minutes to get there. I had an attitude. So we're not like Florida where you have highways everywhere. We're like a city, a county, an urban area where you got to drive through the city to get to the Walmart or drive through the city to get to the freeway. Like, it's not like, oh, freeway's right here. And then you just take that to go the whole way down to OB, OBT. And then it ain't like that. Like it's literally, you're in a county with a lot of, when you was in Philly, it's like that. You drive everywhere. Yeah. There's no highways.
Yeah, no.
The highways are around the city.
It took us a long time to get the maxes for that seafood, but it was worth it.
So when I first went to Walmart that day, I was like, yo, I did not think about getting groceries and driving. That was another consideration. So you know what? Even here, this location, I learned this after I got here. We sit on the side where the sun kind of hits us. We get snow up here. So when it snows, the snow melts very quickly because the sun's always hitting this side. My other location was facing this way. So we had the shadows from the building and the snow never melted. You can shovel it and it would still turn into ice. And it was much. So I knew moving forward, we got to make sure we're facing the side where the sun is going to hit us. So those were little things that, I think are important. And that comes with time. You grow through those experiences.
Oh, definitely. It's a whole different ballgame from our first location to our 7th. It's
you've
just
grown.
so much more streamlined. We
Yeah.
already know. We go in and the conversation is just some of our barbers have tagged along because they want to learn, some of the managers, what it takes to open up a shop, because now they know what it takes to run a shop for us.
Right.
And it's a free education, but they want to know, hey, how do you open one? And they come along and it's like, it's a different language. They're just
Right.
like, what are you talking about? Tyrik, I want to get to the question segment.
Let's do it.
But I want to leave everyone with this as well, because I saw this in one of your lives. And they said, what's the problem with the students and with some of our barbers in this industry? And someone told you TSW, tattoos, sneakers, and what was it?
Tattoos, shoes, and weed.
Tattoos, shoes, and weed. Be
Yep.
better, guys.
So
Be better.
when the guys are complaining, God, why is this happening? They're looking up at God, right? God, why is this happening? What they need to do is look down at their feet. They need to listen. I like nice things.
We all do. I like shoes as well.
You know, the crazy part is they gotta have the latest phone, and they gotta have the Louis Vuitton case, and they gotta have the Apple Watch, and they gotta have the Louis belt, and you're looking up at God saying, "Why am my financial situation?" You got to be looking down at your shoes or the things that are unnecessary. During this pandemic, a lot of us have learned the things that we don't need. We've learned it. We've learned how to budget. Some people weren't in shutdown as long as we've been shut down 16 weeks. You guys, I think we're about 6 or 7 weeks, right?
No, we were shut down. Yeah, about that, like 70 days.
Yeah, I thought it was like 7 weeks. So, because I've been studying the country and kind of getting the data,
collecting it. And California shut down again, and Florida is the epicenter of the world right now. So, man,
yeah, I feel for you guys, but you know, with the tattoo, shoes, and weed thing, I did a video probably 2 years ago, and it was because I was driving in a car with a guy, and he was complaining that he didn't have a car, but he had to drive his girl, take her to work. He was complaining. I'm like, dude, why are you complaining? I just saw you smoke 2 blunts. We were going to a football game, and I was like, dude, I just watched you. And I asked him, because I'm nosy, I'm intrigued. I don't smoke. So I'm like, how much was that blunt? He's like, what you mean? Now he said, I sell it. I'm like, you sell it. So is it cheaper because you sell it? He goes, yeah. I was like, no, you still bought it, right? And since you're selling it, you could potentially earn more than what you're using to smoke it. So let's stick with those numbers. He's like, all right. I said, how much is a blunt? He said, $20. I said, dude, how many did you have today? I saw you smoke 2, but you was clearly high before you got in the car. And he was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I had one this morning. I said, so you had 3 today. That's $60. By the time the end of the day, he had about 8 or 9 of them, right? But he clearly didn't see he had a problem. So I told him, don't smoke while we in the car, because I'm not with that, right? So before the game, when we stopped at the gas station, he smoked. When we get to the game in the parking lot, while people are tailgating, he's smoking. So I'm like paying attention to all. I'm observing all this stuff. We get back home. I said, so look, I got a suggestion for you. You were having difficulty trying to get a car, right? Because this, that, and the third. When I started to discuss the numbers of weed,
he was shocked.
How much he was spending close to $17,000, $18,000 a year on weed. So one, he didn't have a car, but he was spending $18,000 a year on smoking weed. It didn't matter whether he was selling it or not. It's 18 grand, right?
Yeah.
Sneakers, $300-$400 sneakers, right? So you can't complain about not having when you're taking the time and putting the money into the things that really don't matter. So for some of the younger guys, you haven't invested. I spent 6 years not buying anything. I ain't buy nothing. Josh, he one of them guys. This guy, he don't buy lunch. He's smart. And you know what's funny? I told him the other day, I said, you know what you should do? When we're ordering lunch, you should suggest what you want to eat. And he was like, why? I'm not buying them. I said, because you eat everybody's leftovers. So he was like, oh, that's a good idea. But Josh went to school. He committed. He sacrificed. He budgeted his money. You know, he's got a young child. So he's focused on what's important. He's not worried about weed. He's not worried about tattoos. You know, that's him.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, you applaud that effort because it takes maturity to get to that place, and he kind of figured that out early in the game for himself.
Absolutely. Same thing, the shoe thing, right? The guys that are like, oh man, I'm a little bit short on rent and blah blah. But you cop the shoes that just dropped this morning. Like, hold on a second, bro. Let's talk about that real quick. All right, so we're gonna get over to the question section, guys. I'm gonna check how many we have. I haven't even looked, Tyrik, honestly.
That's all good.
Before we get to the question part, make sure you're following Tyrik Jackson on IG. His IG is listed right here, right underneath him. Make sure you follow me on IG as well. That's where you get all the updates for the podcast, any upcoming episodes, and you get chances to submit your questions for the next guest. So, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the sub, hit the little bell for the notifications. That way you know when the episodes drop. We're just about to hit 20,000. I'm gonna do a giveaway, so help me get to 20,000 subs, guys. This is more of a statement. We're going to go with this one first.
What's going on, guys? This is Brandon Florence from Texas, small town Kilgore, Texas. My Instagram is bflowthebarber, BFLOTHE Barber. I just wanted to get on here real quick and tell Mr. Tyrik Jackson, Mr. TJ, big thank you. A lot of the stuff he's talked about in his I want to say it's his Tyrik Talk Tuesdays has really changed my game. I just wanted to see if he could bring up that speech he gives every now and then on putting in good energy. It's like water or overflowing. You know, you overflow greatness. But anyways, I just want to tell him thank you, and thank you guys. Keep it up. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, B. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for the words of encouragement.
Now I'm intrigued. The water flow speech, and he said, "Can you bring that up? What's that? What's that on? What's that about?"
So, there's I just mentioned to you, it's like a bank account, no deposit, no withdrawal. You don't put whatever. If you don't put it in, you can't take it out. And I got a video with. We all are a cylinder. We're a vessel, right? And what we have in our system consumes us. What we consume, we put in our system. It's the cylinder with the, I have ping pong balls, and each ping pong ball has a different label to it. And fear, anxiety, resentment, depression, anger. And I got real emotional when I was sharing that because we fill ourselves with the stuff. And the only way to remove it is to fill ourselves with something else. And water is essential for life. And when I began to pour water in, and the example I used for water was water is encouragement. Water is faith. Water is support. Water is these other things. And when you begin to pour that water into your system, what it does naturally is it pushes all the ping pong balls out. And so all those things, take a look. As a matter of fact, I'll send you the link just in case you wanted to tie it to this. But
I'll definitely put the
link.
Yeah,
it was a good example. So thanks.
That's awesome. That was the only question we got. Unfortunately, guys, you got to call in the show 813-602-1182 so you can interact with these guests. I mean, look at this unique opportunity to get to ask Tyrik Jackson. I've been able to ask him a bunch of questions now in this hour, and I appreciate him being so gracious with this time. But in order for you guys to ask your question, you got to call in.
Scratch and sniff. You don't know what's in there until you scratch it.
Definitely do. We might have to have a Tyrik episode 2. Maybe just on questions. We do it again.
We'll get some feedback from this one. Maybe some questions will come from this conversation, and then we'll do a part 2.
Definitely. Tyrik, again, thank you so much for being gracious with your time, man. I know you're a busy guy. Y'all heard it in the beginning. The man started at 6 o'clock this morning. 3 conference calls and Tyrik Tuesday before he even got to me. So amazing. The grind never stops. I appreciate your time. And
thank you.
Till next time, brother.
Absolutely. Hey, don't forget, serve your needs by serving the needs of others.
Ooh. Left you with that nugget. That's what you're leaving with. Serve your needs by serving the needs of others. You must first serve. You must first serve to lead. Period.